Hello everybody, welcome to Indigo Tarot Odyssey. This morning I have a very fun read about karma. I think we're all due little karmic lessons and we're going to find out what some of those might be. And I love this new deck that I got that was Oracle of Visions. I get very tremendously strong messages from this, and I do believe that they deliver some really impactful insights in the writing as well. So we're going to have a 3-card read today, and I'm going to let you choose from number 1, which is a lovely man with a yin and yang on him. Number 2, I love that imagery. I remember seeing that quite often on certain pages, and I was very excited to see what deck that was from. And number 3, which is this lovely sort of puppet master, which is really, really cool. I'm excited to see what that says in the book. So I'm going to let you choose 1 through 3, because basically I've been wondering a lot about like karma. It's one of my studies recently, and I love it because karma is a Sanskrit word for action. It's the equivalent of, say, Newton's law for every action has a reaction. So when we think, speak, or act, we initiate some kind of force, right? And this force will react accordingly. So this returning force may be modified, changed, or suspended, but most people will not be able to eradicate it. This is the law of cause and effect, and it is not a punishment, but it is wholly for the sake of education and learning. We just need to remember that, right? A person may not escape the consequences of his actions, but he'll suffer only if he's made conditions ripe for his suffering. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, whether the laws are man-made or universal, right? So let's see sort of what's going on. We have to remember that too. If we act with intention and love, all is well. And so we just have to remind ourselves that if we talk smack about somebody that's not there, chances are it's going to come back around, especially if it's in a work environment or a family environment. That's where most squabbles stem from, is people speaking ill of one another, you know, whether it's in a competitive atmosphere or retribution for something. Like, I must say, oftentimes when there's a death in the family and there's a will involved, there is such savagery, I cannot even let you know. I have to say myself, I came into this. I had, you know, a brother who tried to sue me after I was left sole inheritor of my mother's estates. And it's like, it was just crazy. And it's really hard to come to terms with our reaction at the moment. You know, it's like, we do have to remember that there is the great law. As you sow, so shall you reap, okay? It's called the law of cause and effect. So whatever we put in the universe, it's going to come back. So what we want is happiness, peace, love, and friendship. So let's aim for that, right? That sounds good. My cat's trying to climb on the chair, and I'm like, I'm not having it. So we're going to see what's going on for number 1, which is number 17. I love that. The art in this is so dramatic and beautiful. So this is about balance and equality. It says, if I'm losing balance in a pose, I stretch higher and God reaches down to steady me. It works every time, and it's not just in yoga. So despite our differences, by changing our position, stance, or direction, we may find a common ground and jointly interact. This process is made easier when both sides participate in unison. So balance by default requires equality of purpose, position, and desire. Both sides are a pivotal point and must consider the position of the other. If one side fails to cooperate, balance is lost. Yeah, I'm always in awe of the circus performers on the those high swings, right? Like, often it's a woman that releases herself and does some catapulting stuff and tosses in the air, and then he catches her and they catch each other, right? It's all about timing. It's amazing. But let's remember too that the law of, like, let's say, creation. Life doesn't just happen. It requires our participation, right? We are one with the universe, both inside and out. Whatever surrounds us gives us clues to our inner state. So be yourself and surround yourself with what you want to have present in your life. Okay, fresh flowers, great friends, people that uplift you. Yeah, look, you got the Empress card. So this is what I feel is coming in for you. I feel like now you're going to be experiencing the law of growth. Wherever you go, there you are. So for us to focus and grow in spirit, we must change, and not the people, places, or things around us. The only given we have in ourselves is ourselves, you know, and the only factor we have control over is ourselves. So when we change who and what we are within our heart, our life follows suits and changes too. When we just disregard and shake off the shackles of weird subconscious patterns that don't behoove or help us grow. We're stepping into a new light. And I feel this is important today on April 1st because it is basically an ace hitting the ground. It is a new start. It is all kinds of things that we're going to go into, and we're going to also, this, I feel too, you're going to have the law of focus on your side. So you cannot think of two things at the same time. When our focus is on spiral values, it's impossible for us to have lower thoughts such as greed or anger, right? Sorry, I meant spiritual values. The cat just jumped on me right when I said that and she scared me. So yeah, our spiritual, when we're concentrating on that, we don't want to gossip and have lesser thoughts or lower vibrations. We want to connect on a very high level, see our abundance, see our growth, see our love. So that's your message for today. And don't forget to watch the rest because they're only like 5 minutes and they'll have little nuggets of information, you know, that you can glean from as well. And I'm just tapping into sort of karma. I've always, you know, been interested in understanding and believe in it for sure. But it's like sometimes we have to remind ourselves of that, right? And then we can kind of course correct if we get a little off center or we're feeling a little undervalued. I feel like when people are unhappy or they feel neglected sometimes is when different behaviors come in that aren't really true to our nature. So now we're going to go on to number 2, belonging, acceptance, and assimilation. The primary joy of life is acceptance, approval, and a sense of appreciation and companionship of our human comrades. Absolutely, right? Our sense of belonging and our acceptance of others requires some kind of affirmation, right? Peer recognition, acceptance, all of that. It's a compelling motivation for reward and our participation. So for that aim, we may, you know, have to demonstrate to some degree our allegiance to other people, right? Some communicate their allegiance and commitment through body marking, with tribal tattoos, things like that. Others by more transparent expressions such as dress codes and fashion, and others by their conduct or mannerisms, right? Whatever the form, all variations are the same basic objective, namely a confirmation that I am this and I belong, and I in turn expect and accept you to do as well. So in our enthusiasm and desire for acceptance, we have to be careful to stay true to ourselves, right? Are we really comfortable with the me we are claiming? And if it is strained, forced, or ultimately unsustainable, perhaps that is not the we that we really want to belong to, right? I feel like in this waking, gorgeous spectrum of life, we have our choice to belong to many groups, right? I know in high school, I had total stoner friends, total athlete friends, total artistic friends, and quite a few popular people that lived in my neighborhood. They would pick me up, and it was hard as hell to integrate those girls because they had all kinds of ideas what the others were like. And you just, when you're yourself, you know, you're accepted. When you're your natural, authentic self, you can really fit in anywhere and communicate on any level, which is really beautiful. So let's see what's going on. We have, the 9 of Pentacles, which I like for you. Now, what I feel like is happening with you, and funnily enough, I feel like you're working in with the law of connection. So even if something we do seems inconsequential, it's very important that it gets done, as everything in the universe is connected, right? Each step leads to the next step, so on and so forth. So someone must do the initial work to get the job done, right? Neither the first step nor the last is really of the greatest significance. They're both needed to accomplish the task. So past, present, and future, they're all connected. So when you feel like there's something to be done and like somebody sends you a thank you note, just pop on there and be like, you're very welcome. Or if somebody asks you a question and it doesn't take a whole bunch of effort on your part, send that you're welcome. Like I'm in a significant position where often, because I'm a light worker and a helper and a counselor and a therapist, and I'm right now working on all these relationship quandaries people are having. I have a broad spectrum of things. I have to be careful because my time does have constraints on it. So sometimes when people are asking me a bunch of questions, I will answer as much as I possibly can, but I also know that I have to have a viable source of income. And I need you other light workers to know that too. Don't devalue yourself or give everything away. We're not meant to do that. When we do that, we don't prosper, and we need to have prosperity to live and pay our bills as well, right? Everybody does. If we have a service to provide, of course you should have equal money for that, right? And I feel like a lot of people that too, when they do paintings or murals, it's like they're like, well, it's a friend, I don't want to do. Nonetheless, it is your time, it is your effort, it is your gifts that you're bestowing, and everybody should be reimbursed so they have some income on it, you know. And that's sort of the law of connection too. If people want things from you, you know, don't undervalue yourself, because time is one of the most important assets we have, right? I definitely feel like too, you have the law of responsibility circulating here with these pentacles. And wherever there's something wrong in our lives, there's something wrong within ourselves, right? We mirror what surrounds us, and what surrounds us mirrors us. So this is a universal truth. So we have to take responsibility for what's in our life. So if we see angry people looking at us, hostile, impatient people, we're probably projecting that out as well. So we need to step back. Often it's hard for us to see that in ourselves, but it can definitely happen. So we need to step into the law of humility a little bit, which says what you refuse to accept will continue for you, right? If we see what is an enemy or someone with character trait that we find to be negative, then we ourselves are not focused on the higher level of existence. So we don't need to be focusing on what everybody else is doing. You know, let's remember the great law of what we sow, we shall reap. So and stop being afraid and start being empowered in the world of karma, right? It's like, just step into it. No, it's all about education and learning. When we learn on that go round, that karmic cycle, we get to elevate, right? We all want to elevate, right? It's like an upgrade. It's like first class. We want that. Yeah, give us that. That sounds nice. So that's your message. Is beautiful, you guys. And also I'm hearing to you are going to have an increased level of abundance. Do the hard work you've been putting in. People are recognizing you. You know what I mean? You have skill sets that are valuable, and people are watching you. Sometimes I feel like you might feel a little invisible, or you're just the status quo, but you're not. You're not blending into the background by any means. People are taking quiet consideration of what you're doing, and you're going to get karmic rewards for that as well as financial. So have a great I'm trying to talk to my husband's leaving. Have a great day. I didn't want to yell into the microphone. Okay, so that's you guys, and that's your energy. Beautiful. Really work into this and know that eyes are on you, and that they're appreciative eyes, which is really nice. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Don't forget to press like and subscribe. And if you go to little gray arrow, that'll bring you to all my links down below. You can join my Patreon page, and you can get what is a $100 course that I'm charging other people for $1 if you just join my Patreon page on any level. And check out the different tiers. Some of the tiers that you join, you get monthly free reads with that. You get tutorials, and you can pick your tutorials. If you join the $30 tier, you can pick whatever. I'll show you how to make jewelry. I'll show you, I will give you any advice on anything that you see me speak of. And I mean, I have a lot of weird, I can paint, I know hair and makeup, all that stuff. You get your own personal tutorial. And also come to my Etsy page and check out all my spring jewelry. Is really, really doing well. And I want to thank all you guys for your custom made orders and my private reads. I do those within 48 hours. I get right on those. They take precedence. So come on over there. April 1st is the best day. I love the energy so much today. In fact, I'm doing, I'm going to do some comp reads for my friends, because like it's booming, it's popping off. I love April. So that's you guys. So now we're going to go on to number 3 right here. And I love this. I'm so excited to see what it's going to talk about with this beautiful puppet master thing. It's so funny. And the imagery really gets to me, because a long time ago, do you guys remember that movie, Return to Witch Mountain? And they had, as a child watching that, they had that big theater in their room. It was like they were super, super spoiled, because this guy wanted to keep them content. And they had all these beautiful marionettes and stuff. And I was like, ooh, okay. So this is about manipulation, control, role-playing, and wishful thinking. What good is it sitting alone in your room? Come hear the music play. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Come to the cabaret. So that's lyrics from the musical Cabaret. So life is a cabaret, a theater, a performance. We're acting out roles as villains and heroes like marionettes. We are both manipulated and manipulating, writing and following the script. We share the stage with others for some acts and perform solo in others. So in this parody, we can create artificial scenarios or planned outcomes. We can transform into something or someone we are not. There may be a creative benefit in that, and we're encouraged to fulfill our dreams and wishes. The danger is losing oneself in that role and losing touch with the reality beyond our stage doors. Now, this is putting on, I believe, a false front. We all want to appear a certain way for higher appreciation, higher acceptance, and all those things. However, if you're, say, at a job and people, you're thinking to excel in the company or whatever, please do not magnify your skill sets that you don't have, that they may call upon for you to use before you've acquired them. You know what I'm saying? Like false resumes, please do not do things like that. Yeah, I mean, I know sometimes there's movies out there right now with Jennifer Lopez that it's like she portrayed herself as like a Harvard grad and this and that, and she got a job and it all worked out. But sometimes when we, majority of the time, if we go through dishonest means, that is not a great way. We always want to start integrity-driven, authentic who we are, because then there's nothing to remember or hide. We are just living in a pure form of existence, right? We should never play. And a lot of people do that when they first get in relationships. They want to seem a certain way, like this gleaming paragon of virtue, intelligence, and sportsmanship, or whatever the hell's going on, you know, whatever. And when things are exaggerated, you feel like you have something artificial to live up to. So we should never do that. So I definitely feel that in this particular thing, you know, it's like we need to know about the law of humility as well. So what you refuse to accept will continue for you. You know, if you don't put the true foot forward, it's going to be hard to get to that higher level existence. And we also need the law of responsibility here as well. When something's wrong in our life, it's internally usually something maladjusted within us, you know, because again, we have to take responsibility for what's in our life, because what surrounds us mirrors us, and we want to connect in the right way, and we want to be true to ourselves and master our senses. You know what I mean? We're not animals. We're not going out there just trying to compete and be the wolf pack leader and go crazy and all that. We want unison, common goals, shared values, right? We want to be at one with other. It's crazy. I feel like it's not always love that makes the world go round, but mutually supportive alliances, right? Which partners recognize dependence on each other and achievements of shared and private goals. I mean, there's such a lovely sisterhood on YouTube, and all you guys like Cherry. It's like, it really is that interconnectedness where you would love to help others in any way. And when you do, you feel like it's a life well lived, because you have the time, you have the currency, whatever it is. It's usually some kind of form of education or information, and share it. Be willing to share to lift others. I mean, I'm always in awe of the fact that sometimes people, all it would take is a second for them to hold the door for the old lady behind them. But most of it is not intentional rudeness. It's simply not being aware. So we do need to slow down. Just be aware. Hey, what are we doing? What are our actions and words? Because we want good things to come back from that, right? Yeah, definitely. Oh, look, yeah. And then you have this beautiful Queen of Cups, where you're emotionally fulfilled with yourself and who you are, and you're able to share that. And you're going to bring this love into the world and this continuation of good feeling towards you, because this group, I definitely feel like you understand that like life is like a weird figure eight, and at its center is the city of deja vu. It is. Shit just comes around and goes around and comes around and goes around. I'm having I can't even get into my serendipities and the stuff that happens, and all of the synchronicities that I'm going through, because it's like they're continual. They are daily and they are hilarious. And it's like, time can be the ultimate thief. It gradually takes from us and doesn't give back. So I decided, you know, once I hit a certain age, I'm just going to learn, live, do, help, cherish, and thrive, right? Because we can have any interpretation of our life that we want, but I want to set a sustainable image of myself and for my children and my family that is, you know what, go out of your way to be helpful, loving, and kind, because why the hell else are we here? Seriously. We're not here about control and organization and getting to the top. I mean, I'm kind of here for knowledge research and knowing all the facts because I want to know everything, but who cares? I'm not doing that so I can, you know, just get a catalog in my head and build the biggest library. It's for healing, caring, and friendships. That's why I want to know these things. So everybody should have ambitions, goals, and inspiration, but they should definitely acquire some inner peace and balance in a restful state to communicate with each other and love each other. And that's what you're doing with this Queen of Cups. And you're definitely going to be pulling in some fabulous flock of like knowledge, friends, and energy, because you're warm, receptive. And I know this sounds crazy, but you're going to have all these erotic outbursts. Like all of a sudden you're just going to be feeling like, oh, like you want to see, you know, beautiful, sexy imagery and stuff like that. Like erotic is more like just very sensual, like you're feeling uber sensual, and that's really cool. I mean, everybody goes through those stages, right, where they just don't have the time for all that, and then other times when they do. I feel like when you're shopping now, you're like, ooh, look, a red bra, or ooh, look at that. You know what I mean? Just those little things are like a little touch of whimsy, and you're going to go for it, and you deserve it because it's spring. So happy April Fools!